if you're still running creative testing campaigns, just imagine trying to put creative testing ad spend behind 3,000 ads. Now, this is not all for one client, obviously, but you simply cannot spend the money on that many ads in the ad account to test them. You can't do it. It is cost prohibitive to distribute at that level. On the other hand, if Meta is going to pick your winners for you based on extremely small amounts of spend, and will take engagement signals really seriously for you. If you've built a campaign setup so that Meta will do that work for you, first of all, you now, aside from even by the way, the testing budget, there's the brain space budget, right? You just cannot stay on top of that many ads. Like no human can do it. No human can tell how many of those are working. You instead have to only respond to massive winners and massive losers. Well, really not even massive losers, massive winners. Those are the ones you'll see in the ad account because they'll float to the top of your spend. But you simply can't stay on top of all of those ads because it will just be too much mental effort aside from the actual dollar cost of doing it. So you have to build, if you want to do this kind of strategy, you have to be running manual bids. And that's one way of framing this, but you should also frame it the other way, which is that manual bids allow you to do this strategy. Manual bids allow you to go into the creative production process with the knowledge that you don't have to put serious ad dollars behind every ad, that Meta will rank these things for you based on whatever signals it's getting. And yes, there will probably be some false negatives. And yes, there will probably be some false positives in there, but I don't care. I don't care at all because I am trying, as I said before, to win the most hands at poker that I possibly can. And yes, there will be some hands that don't work out, even though I make the quote unquote right bet. Okay, but that's okay with me because I'm going to win in the aggregate, and that is well worth it to me for building this strategy. So. That's one of the core ideas here, that you have to do this. The thing is, it's also getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And I am building more process to try to create more volume here, help my team create more volume, not less. And so that means that the amount of ad production we are going to do is only going to go up. And again, and I think that's going to be true for everybody. I think AI is going to make this, make us get to a point here where the cost of ad production per ad continues to go down and down and down. So because of that, I think I think that you are going to have to get to a point where you're good at running manual bids and letting manual bids scale your ads for you. Otherwise, this simply won't be viable, and you will just be left in the dust on the ability to create this kind of output. So you need to be running manual bids. You need to ditch your creative testing campaigns, and you need to let them scale your ads for you. And that I'm almost framing as if it's like some kind of a problem, but it's not a problem. It is the greatest. It is so helpful that you can do this. It is so useful that you can do this. It allows you to go and take way more risks in your creative production approach. It allows you to try ideas that you wouldn't try otherwise. It allows you to not worry too much in advance about whether you think something will work or not. Instead, you just put it in there. And that is so freeing in the creative process because you just don't have to worry that you're going to blow money on a bad ad. It's not going to happen. It suppresses that for you. Plus, it amplifies your winners really, really fast, way better than you or I could if we were individually managing the account. So it's just incredibly helpful. I've got an episode of this podcast coming up that I want you to subscribe to the show, because I've got an episode coming up with Jacob Posel, I think is the way you say his last name, from Common Thread Collective, who is leading their build out of the AI tools that Common Thread Collective is doing. And he listened to my episode from a little while ago about the use of AI in ads, which is still very much a live issue for me in terms of how best to use that. He had some thoughts about it. And so I said, well, don't tell me, come on the podcast, tell everybody, because I think this is going to be a fascinating thing to figure out more and more how this plays into the total process. But yes, you have to be running cost controls. And certainly what CTC is doing is trying to continue to build the ad creative process so that the cost goes down and down and down, the volume goes up and up and up, because you can run ads based on cost controls. Okay. So number one, you have to be doing that. It's crucial to this whole plan of 3,500 ads in a month or whatever. Okay. Number two, build processes for volume. Okay. You do not get to 3,000 ads, even if you have a certain amount of manpower involved, right? Overnight. It has required us to build out the Asana side of things. It's using tools like Frame to test ads, and Notion for briefing. And there's a bunch of different little parts of this process for us that we've built our way. We have to build processes for letting clients know how things get published. There's an Asana to Slack automation where every time an ad gets published, it kicks a notification on Slack so people see that. We group them by concept, right? So they don't see 3,000 Slack notifications a month. But all of these little things, and then on the team side, helping different people understand where their part of the process is to create more volume. So there's part of it is that building it up over time, having people involved who can help, who are detail oriented, administrative. This is not me, but who can help sort these sorts of things out. And I'm so thankful for those people on my team because they just have made it so that we can serve my clients in a way that I think is much better than I possibly could do, if I was working alone or working with these other teams. Another thing we've been able to do, by the way, for the process for volume, and this is also related to the cost controls issue, is that, of course, that's our ad output for brands, but it's not all the content that's going into the ad account. What about organic social content that they're making, which I've talked about before as being potentially valuable, influencer content, creator content, like TikTok content that's going in there. So there's all kinds of other content that's being made in the ad account, and all of that is also getting there and getting into the ad account. And so that also allows us to expand volume output from other sources on top of the volume that we're producing internally, right? It's also, international versions of ads and different bidding methods and things like that. So some of these ads are being built 4 times in the ad account, right? Before in different campaign setups and those kinds of things. And so we're trying to build this ability to get a team all pulling on this in a way that you can actually produce the kind of volume that you want to produce here. Now, what we are trying to do is say, where are we still getting stuck? Okay. And that sometimes is on the scripting level. There's times when we can use more boilerplate for different parts of explainer ads for clients. The offer in CTA is often the same for certain things. There's body copy that could be the same for a product across 5 different angles. There's also potentially a way to use tools to make it so that, I know like Canva has a tool where you can basically give Canva 5 images and create one sort of copy setting, and it will immediately put the copy across all 5 images. I don't get down to that level of ad making usually, but there's stuff like that, tools to make it so that you can spin out still image variations. And all of these tools are getting better and faster all the time. So one of the things I'm doing with help from some amazing clients, among other people, is working on building out more and more places where we can find things that are slowing us down and go faster. Even on the ad building side, I'm starting to think more about this. How can we, as a team, find any place where we're getting slowed down unnecessarily, not slowed down by creative work? I don't mind if we're getting slowed down by conceptual work. That actually, I think, is in some ways okay, because I want people to work through difficult creative challenges for brands. That actually requires thought work. What I want to see, though, is where there are tasks that are simple tasks that are just sort of busy work that we can continue to find ways to work on. And again, I'm actually not even the one doing all of that kind of stuff. I've got other people working with me who are built into that process. But if you want to do this kind of output, that is the kind of problem solving you have to do. There are little places. Part of it just requires listening. I mean, I've definitely found that listening to people and saying like, hey, where are you getting slowed down? I mean, do we need to get you faster internet? There's all kinds of different things where you can see that problem. Even creative reviews from clients. Are we getting slowed down on the turnaround time for when clients review and send feedback on ads and those kinds of things? So finding all of those places and sort of ruthlessly seeking to eliminate them as you build the process really makes a difference, because every one of those kinks you can unkink turns into a place to create more volume for clients and more output, and that allows you to work through ideas faster.